The drop-in is truly a hospitality center, and it has been there for everyone who needed support. Especially, it's just amazing that it's 20 years already, because when Ireland began to have immigrants come to Ireland, that was about 20 or 21 or 22 years ago. The migrants had really challenges because they didn't know where to get information and where to get support. The drop-in filled that gap in the lives of people. It was truly an amazing experience being part of the drop-in for all these years. For me, the drop-in means much more than a place where people just come to learn computer, to learn how to speak English. But it meant much more than that, because it was a place where when we started using the drop-in, we had so much comfort in the place. When we first came into Ireland, it was a new experience for a lot of people, having to leave their countries of residence and finding refuge in a place like Ireland. But surprisingly, there was a lot of gaps in the services that were being given to the migrants. At that time too, I'm sure we will recall that the computer was a new experience for a lot of people 20 years ago, because most people coming from third world countries never even knew or saw computers before. And coming into a first world country, and you discover that everything you needed computer literacy to be able to function effectively and integrate, because you can see what computer has done over these years. But drop-in fill that gap also, because people came there. People like me, we actually came in here to come and learn, came there to learn computer. It helped me a lot because I was not computer literate initially, but now I can say that the foundation that I had in computer learning from the drop-in has helped me even thus far, even in my own personal lives. At that time, because a lot of migrants, when they came in here, they came in with a lot of skills. Like I'm a qualified barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. So I had legal knowledge, and which the drop-in identified, because of my association with the drop-in, they identified there was a gap in legal services for migrants at that time. And because of my legal knowledge, I volunteered to provide that service to a lot of migrants, helping them to understand, to fill out the forms that they needed, to apply for different things that they needed. I advocated for a lot of people at that time. And the drop-in gave me that opportunity to be able to utilize my skill and don't feel redundant. And a lot of people benefited from the skills that I was able to, the services I was able to provide on behalf of the drop-in to the people. So I believe that I made a huge difference in the lives of many people in terms of legal information and advocacy. And I help a lot of people liaising with the Department of Justice, with the Gardaí, and with the social welfare services. So it helped people to be able to I help people resolve the problems that they had. And the drop-in gave me that opportunity, and of which I remain eternally grateful. The drop-in means so much to me, and sometimes when I talk about drop-in, I become extremely emotional, because I know that the gap that it filled for me at the time we came into this country was huge. And I'm very honored to have been part of it from the beginning, and also until this day I've continued to be closely associated with the drop-in. And it's amazing how they still remain relevant even up till this time. Because people still come into the drop-in and for different services. Even of late, I've begun to actually volunteer again at the drop-in to provide some legal services to people, legal information and advocacy support to migrants. So the drop-in has been really crucial. And one of the things that was important to me at that time, because it was a place for gathering and interaction with other people, because a lot of people felt isolated, but the drop-in was a place where people could come and feel free, and they provided real hospitality. And everybody, the staff And the people who volunteered at the drop-in were always very welcoming. And we were very, very supported at that time, and I believe even up till now. And it's just 20 years, and I believe that even going into the future, the drop-in will always remain relevant in the lives of the migrants. And one other support that the drop-in provided for many users of the drop-in service was that it provided reference, especially for the people who use the place constantly. It became a reference point, and so when people needed references for job, because at that time, because without having reference, the importance of reference in employment is very, very cannot be overemphasized, really, because if you think about it, that people coming from outside the country, new migrants here, they never knew people who could give them references, but this drop-in provided the references that even for me, I remember, because I became a huge, a very important volunteer for them, that even when I wanted to get a job myself, a paying job myself, the drop-in provided my reference, which was very, very important, without which I would never have even been able to get the job that I got. I got a very good job, and that became a foundation for me to even move into greater things.